goddamn, I need IPA.
This is Beering Ain't Easy, your podcast for beer humor, dad humor, and beer tastings from Texas and beyond. So crack one if you got one and turn it up.
Welcome to Beering Ain't Easy with Adam, Ryan, and Drew.
I'm proud of you for nailing that new intro with Ryan included.
Well, I took vacation all week and I was strategizing of how to adjust the intro, and I have to say I think I hit it out of the park.
Way to innovate. You're a champion for us all. So we're doing an Oktoberfest episode, our second inaugural Oktoberfest Battle.
Oh, yeah.
This episode is actually going to air in October, and I feel like that's really late for Oktoberfest because I think the official Oktoberfest is actually in late September, and I feel like doing Oktoberfest in October is past when all the stores have actually distributed them. Is that a fair statement?
I think that's kind of fair, but when you live in Houston, you gotta be on the latter end of Oktoberfest season to really participate, I feel like.
You need your first cold front of the year.
Yeah.
And so if you remember, and if you don't remember, you can go back and listen to season 1. But from season 1, we did a pretty awesome concept that we're going to do again today. We're going to take a beer, a local Oktoberfest versus a state, so a Texas Oktoberfest, versus something that's distributed nationwide and something that's distributed internationally. And we're going to see which one takes the top. Do you remember where we landed last year, Adam?
I remember where I landed.
And where was that?
I landed as the local Oktoberfest from Texas Leaguer Brewery as the champion. And I loved that Oktoberfest, and I'll be looking for it this season.
And I think I ended up with a Texas beer, the Altstadt from Fredericksburg. But what was interesting when I checked the tapes, went back on it. Last year we both picked the international beer as number 2, and so it may have averaged out as the top pick if you did the math. So I think we could have an interesting challenge. So I think let's talk about what beers we have. So where do we want to start first?
Well, I think we either start with the local or the international.
Let's go local. Ryan, you want to describe the local?
Yeah, we got a Festbier from Ingenious Brewing up in Humboldt, Texas.
All right.
So, yeah, 5.5%.
And it's really got an interesting can. It's there's some people on it, and I'm not sure who these people are. Ryan, do you know who these people are on this can?
I recognize the dude in the hat and glasses. I think I've seen him around, so I think this is people involved with the brewery, possibly. That'd be my guess.
My first thought was Team America, but they look a little too many beards for Team America.
That's my dream,
they got
to have
matching...
a cartoon drawing of me on a beer can.
All you have to do is print a label and we'll brew some stuff up. The Beering Ain't Easy cartoon label.
Yes.
They got jumpsuits on, and there's American flag and stuff behind them, so it looks like it's a callback to Beerfest, and they're a drinking team.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Nice.
And they got Keanu Reeves on the team, so they're going to do well.
All right. So now I'm going to introduce the Texas beer. It's by Three Nations Brewing, Cozy Bavarian Oktoberfest. Coming in at 6.4% alcohol.
And that's out of where?
Carrolton, Texas.
So, Ryan, have you started sipping that Cozy Bavarian yet?
I wish I could.
So, we got 4 beers today.
I missed it. That's what she said.
You missed an opportunity. So we went and bought our 4 beers down on the south side of Houston, and I tried to buy beers that Ryan could have access to. But he was able to find 3 pretty easily, with one exception, which was this Cozy Bavarian. And so, Ryan, do you want to tell us your beer quest to try to find the cozy Bavarian?
Yeah, yesterday I went to a decent beer grocery store by my office at work. Didn't find it, so I was like, "Oh, no worries. I'll go to the grocery store by my house tonight." Went, didn't have it there either. So I was like, "Okay, I know there's a really good bottle shop. I think you guys have talked about it before, D&Q. That's not too far from my office." I was like, "If they gotta have it there," so left early for lunch, drove down there. Didn't have it. Asked the guy. He said they just didn't have it yet. So I'm kind of panicking a little bit. So I get back to work, spend like 20 minutes or so with a Total Wine on hold before I leave the office. No luck. So I stopped at another one on my way home, a different one. Also no luck. Stopped by a craft beer cellar up in Cyprus as a last-ditch effort. Also didn't find it. So I feel like I've been searching all over Houston for this beer, and I just could not track it down.
Is my math correct? That is 7 different locations that you tried to find this beer?
Is that what it is? That sounds about right, yes.
The real question is, if your employer is listening, did you take a day of vacation today? I'm just thinking, if I'm Ryan's boss, I'm thinking, what am I getting out of this guy?
I got there early-ish and stayed late-ish.
Ryan, I'm impressed. That's 7 locations, and I got to turn this question over to Adam, who's self-proclaimed Mr. Procurement over here. Would you ever have the dedication to the Beering Ain't Easy podcast to search 7 locations for a beer?
If the circumstances were right.
Ryan just brought some next level shit dedication right there.
Well, I think you're missing the point here. Is I don't care how many places you go. If you come up short, you come up short. I went to one place and I came up short. He went to 7 places and he came up short. Tomato.
You know what this tells me? This tells me that beering ain't easy. That's all it tells me.
You damn right. You goddamn right.
Boom. Nailed it. Let's just end the podcast now while we're at
End it.
So, Ryan, do you want to introduce the national beer, or do you want to introduce both that and your substitute beer?
Oh yeah, I suppose I could share what I'm drinking in lieu of the 3 nations. I decided to get a classic, the Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest. I was looking around at D&Q. I picked up a couple different Oktoberfest to drink in place of it, but this one looked closest in can art to the one you guys are drinking, and that was as good a reason as any to drink this one, right?
Oh yeah. And what is the other national beer that we're drinking tonight?
So the national one is going to be Odell Brewing Oktoberfest Marzen style lager, 6.1%.
That leaves us to round us out with the international. So this one is a popular favorite. Last year we had Spaten. This year we're drinking Paulaner.
Classic.
So will it be able to withstand the Texas challenge?
To be determined.
All right, so we started pouring these. We're going to be sipping them as we're talking, but I think we need to just talk a little bit about Oktoberfest. So I actually prepared a few questions to quiz you both.
And I have some on the spot miscellaneous questions I'll be asking.
As usual. So these are Oktoberfest facts. And so we're going to see what y'all know about Oktoberfest. So the first one, at Oktoberfest in Munich, you cannot start drinking until the mayor does what? Adam.
Drinks.
Incorrect. Ryan.
I feel like I know this. Is it like one of those wood casts? Do you have to tap one of those?
Incorrect. The correct answer.
I thought that was a great answer.
The correct answer was he has to tap the first keg.
Wait,
drinks.
Is that not what I just said?
Did I
what
not
did you
say?
just say? You just had said whack something with a wooden stick. That's what I heard.
Yeah, the wood.
I
the
think
wood
that's
cask.
what you were thinking of, Drew. Not what you,
The
not
wood
what you
cask.
actually said.
To open a wood cask, you hammer in the tap.
All right. We'll allow it.
I think drinks is actually the correct answer because you can't drink without tapping the keg. So technically, I'm right.
We'll call it a wash. Question number 2. So the first Oktoberfest was not actually a celebration of beer. What was the very first Oktoberfest?
A celebration of Adam's birthday in October.
I feel like you're about to blow my mind here because I thought it was a celebration of the end of hop harvest season.
It's actually incorrect. The first Oktoberfest was a wedding. The festival was actually a celebration of the marriage of the Crown Prince Ludwig of Bavaria to Princess Therese of some word that I cannot pronounce in German.
Nice.
So imagine throwing a wedding reception that was so awesome that people still celebrate it every year.
That's true. That's like,
Yeah.
that's
incredible.
Goals. Yeah. They definitely didn't just get the Mick Ultras on their tap. All right. Third and final question. This is going to be a guess the number. How many gallons of beer are consumed at Oktoberfest in Munich every year? Price is Right rules, so you can't go over.
I'm going to go, 6 million gallons. I can't even comprehend how many kegs that actually is. But
Okay, so I got to really think through my strategy here. Well, I was prepared to say one number higher than Ryan, but I don't think it's over 6 million. So I'm going 1.
I went
gallon.
wild card on you.
1 million gallons?
No, 1 gallon.
1 gallon of beer?
Press is right. Rules.
Oh. The correct number is actually 1.8 million gallons of beer.
I win.
How many liters is that?
Let me get out my calculator.
1.8 million gallons is 8,183,000 liters. So I say we switch the question to liters and then I can win.
There we go.
There we go.
He was metric system all along.
Metric.
Yeah. My buddy Ross went to a bachelor party. They went to Oktoberfest in Munich, which is like one of the coolest bachelor party ideas ever.
That is really cool.
Yeah,
That's like intense.
That's super intense. You have to have like well-to-do friends to pull off that.
Were you in a frat by chance?
He
You
wasn't.
must have been more privileged than Drew and I.
Yeah. We're over here like slumming with Keystone Lights.
Yeah.
His buddies are out in Oktoberfest. Oh, man. All right. So I think it's time for us to get to the segment of the podcast that we like to call BS. Adam's BS section.
I need you to work on some intro music for my BS section.
Yeah, there you go. So I feel like last year we had a football episode and we kind of got a little funky. We started tagging types of beers to players.
So Ryan, this is your first Oktoberfest football episode. And so question number 1 for you. If you could equate one beer to your favorite college football team, Oklahoma State, what would it be and why?
Pabst Blue Ribbon, because it has a cult following and everyone hypes it up and you start to buy in and think it's going to be good, but then you try it one more time and you realize it's still just not good and you don't understand why it just can't be good. That's all I got.
You were prepared for that question.
I promise I wasn't, actually. That was off the cuff.
What? That was off the cuff?
Yes.
All right, Drew, same question for Oklahoma State.
Oh, we're going to stay on Oklahoma State
Oh,
here.
man. All right.
I think you should answer that first.
I need a little help. What year were the mullets a thing? Like the 80s?
Yeah.
What is that beer? Do you remember that beer? Like it was Mad Dog?
Oh, Red Dog. It was Red Dog.
Red Dog? Okay.
Oh, Red Dog. Okay, I got you now.
Red Dog. Because that was a popular beer back in the 80s. So I've heard. when the mullets were in, like the Oklahoma State football coach has or used to have.
Yeah, for Oklahoma State, like I feel like all I can think about when it comes to Oklahoma beer is 3-2 beers, because they used to have that cap on how much alcohol you could have in it. So it was like you could drink ultimate unlimited amount of Bud Lights and still not be drunk. So I'm just going to stick with Bud Light as the official beer of Oklahoma State.
All right.
I feel like with this year, like some of the big changes in college football, the biggest one is college players are getting paid. They're getting that money. They're getting that paper.
They're getting some real money.
And they're getting advertisements, right? So, it's they're getting some big time advertisements, but I haven't seen a lot of craft breweries or breweries in general tag on to players yet. So I feel like that's wide open territory that has not been explored, which should be explored.
So I actually do have this one prepared.
Ooh.
How about I bounce a couple of sponsorship ideas off you guys and just you guys see what you think.
Let's do it.
Proceed. You have my permission to proceed, Ryan.
All right. So for a lot of these, I just used the Heisman betting odds, and I looked up a mock draft. So these are just really random players. But the first one I have is the very first O lineman that's projected to be taken on the draft. His name is Evan Neal, offensive lineman for Alabama. Offensive lineman, he wants to push guys around. So I feel like SpindleTap Heavy Hands should sponsor this guy.
Yeah, I'll allow it.
Crickets. All right, next one.
I approve your proposal.
I feel like ever since we started talking about that Bavarian Prince, I feel like Adam and I have been drinking with our pinkies up over here.
So I'm actually, now that I'm looking through my list, I'm realizing I'm having specific beers for players instead of just like general brewery sponsorships. So just bear with me with that in mind.
I think we just need to hear you out. Like you've got some things to say. We need to hear it.
All right, so my next one's another Alabama player. It's the first linebacker projected to be taken. Christian Harris, also from Alabama. Buffalo Bayou Crush City.
I'm sensing a theme here.
I'm sensing two themes here. One is all of the best players are at Alabama.
Yeah, that should be no surprise.
And two, heavy and crush.
Oh, yeah.
They're descriptor words related to football.
I'm glad you picked up on that, Adam. That was astute observation.
There's one more. These are all lame. Trent McDuffie, a defensive back from Washington. He's the shortest player projected to go in the first round at 5'11". So I figured Eureka Heights mini boss.
Sorry, Ryan. I was bringing in my drum set so I could do the ba-doom. I'm going to take a different spin on this. I think we should throw out some classic college football players that everybody knows. And it doesn't have to be a specific beer, but maybe a type of beer. And so the first one I would like to bring to the table would be Mr. Tim Tebow. If he was a type of craft beer, what would he be?
O'Doul's. Bam.
Non-alcoholic. I was going to go there.
I can't top that one.
Are you guys wearing the same shirt?
We are wearing the same shirt.
Oh my God. All right. I have breaking news coming in from Pearland, Texas. Drew and Ryan have coordinated their outfits for this virtual podcast. They are wearing the same shirt.
I would say this is the first time, but I think it's happened before.
Fill me in, Ryan. Fill me in.
This is the least public setting that we've been seen in the same shirts.
And when we're not wearing the same shirt, like we went to the airport together once and we were both wearing like a very, very similar blue shirt, and we were sitting next to each other with our arms crossed in the same way, and Meredith took a picture of us. So Ryan and I are brothers-in-law. I don't think we've talked about that on the show before. And so we're both the outlaws in the family. And so Meredith's parents always give Christmas gifts, and they give brewery shirts as a pretty common staple. And so she'll get, they'll get a shirt for me, for Ryan, and for Will, who was on the Beer Olympics show. And so we'll all be like 3 peas in a pod.
3 broskies.
It's kind of like when you have 2 kids of the same sex and your mom dresses them up to the same like Halloween costumes.
I mean, it's all true. I can't deny any of it.
So I guess my question for you guys is, did you know that going into the marriage that's what would be happening?
I really didn't know what to think when I was going to get a new brother-in-law, but when I found out that it would be one that I could share beer shirts with, then it was a match made in heaven.
It's been a bromance ever since. Have you guys ever made custom matching shirts?
No, but that's a great idea.
I say not yet.
I do have a topic that I feel like needs to be brought up on this podcast. It's a very important topic.
Ryan and I will be the judge of that.
Yep.
So
hit us with it.
My oldest daughter is in 3rd grade, and she came home from school the other day, and she was asking a question to my wife, and that question was, what is a stripper?
Was she on your phone?
Nice.
So apparently she has a friend that when they play on the monkey bars in the playground, her friend, they taught themselves this game where they dance on a pole on the play set. And her friend said that she wants to be a stripper when she grows up. And my daughter was playing along with this game, but doesn't really understand. And I'm not sure that the friend understands either, but how would you handle this situation?
Well, I think there's a little more to the story than what Drew has led on. So, Drew tells me this story, and all I'm doing is judging him and his family. And so, then later that night, my daughter brings up the stripper.
What? No kidding.
Oh, yeah. Did I not tell you that? Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah. And so,
I need some context.
No. And so then I'm like, Kinley, I don't know if you can hang out with Vivi anymore. She's talking.
Oh, you're so full of shit.
Yeah, but
how much of the story is BS and how much is true?
No, it is actually true. I'm serious. Like that. After that night that we went to the park and you guys told us that story, and I was drilling you guys how you asked about it. Jody and I were like laying in bed with her just talking, and she basically said the same story that you told me.
That the other girl was playing that game?
Yeah, and like they've been playing like stripper at recess.
Oh my God. So how did you handle your situation?
Well, I deferred to my wife. But I did. I wanted to let her know what a stripper is.
Like, Meredith, my wife, did a fantastic job because I had to be in the room, but I couldn't have done what she did as far as like handling that situation in a way that's not shaming somebody for their body, but at the same time being like, honey, what they mean by this is someone's taking their clothes off. So it was.
So let me ask you this:
situation.
like when you said someone is taking their clothes off, what was the reaction of your daughter?
She actually goes, "Oh," like she's like she had no idea. Like she was like, "Oh," and so that was the reaction I got from her.
That's a pretty similar reaction, but it's funny because they're like still so young, like they don't even get like why they would be taking their clothes off.
Yeah, my wife had this whole like self-image conversation with her, which is great. But it's like, where does we need to back up and like unpack where does that come from? And Ryan, since your daughter is a toddler, like these are the type of things you got to prepare for. Like, what are you doing to prepare yourself for the stripper conversation?
It's coming, buddy. It's coming. Each generation it comes earlier. So we had to deal with this at age 8. You're gonna have to deal with this at age 6.
So I was thinking I wouldn't have to worry about this for a long time, but then I realized like this new cul-de-sac that I'm living on, there's like 15 kids and like 12 of them are girls, ranging from like age like 7 down to my daughter's age. So yeah, as she starts playing with these kids in the neighborhood, she's gonna learn a lot more stuff than I think I'm ready for.
So when you started telling me about the cul-de-sac, I was waiting for you to say there's a bunch of strippers living in the cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
So funny story. We were at school for open house tonight, and was just walking down the hall, and my daughter saw her friend, the stripper friend.
Name, please.
Say, let's be careful with our verbiage here. The friend that talks about strippers.
Yes. Yes. We saw her, and we saw her mom with her, and I was like, Meredith, shouldn't we introduce ourselves to the parents so we can try to scope the situation out? Because obviously she's gotten some sort of education on that a stripper and pole are two things that go together, and how far does this knowledge go, and where did it come from? I got a million questions.
All right, so I have a question that I cannot not ask. When you saw the mom, were you assessing if she was potentially a stripper? And don't you dare say no, because I know that's a lie.
Adam asking what we're all thinking.
Yeah.
100%.
And what is your assessment?
Jury's still out. She's not, or she classed up real nice for open house. Let's hope no one from the neighborhood's listening. All right, we got to get back to this episode. We got to talk about these beers. Some Oktoberfest Battle.
The grand reveal is what I call this section of the podcast.
So do we want to talk about, how do we want to do this? We want to start with our lowest rated beer.
That would be tradition.
And so Adam and I have a slightly different lineup than Ryan. So Ryan, just let it rip with what you got on your lowest and why. And we'll see where we stack up.
So my number 4 was Festbier by Ingenious. It was, the one I got was Oktoberfest, so it kind of had this cardboardy, off flavor. And what I'm about to say, it sounds worse than it actually is. It's almost like an ashtray kind of really harsh bitterness. So I was trying to see past that, because that may just be an accidental canning thing. I don't know if that's a widespread problem or not, but there was a little bit of malt sweetness that came through, but I just couldn't judge it really effectively. So it had to come in at my number 4.
So you're saying it tastes like an ashtray dumpster?
Canner, it's great though.
Good beer tastes like a fucking ashtray in a dumpster. Well, I think that leads into Drew.
My number 4 beer was actually also the Ingenious Festbier.
Really?
Yeah, I did not get anything at all on ashtray, so I think Ryan may have a bad batch of beer.
That could be from the cigs that he's smoking while he's drinking these beers.
We've been watching Ryan. He's been chain smoking through
while
the episode.
he's holding the baby.
See, this is the first of a 6-pack, so I can update accordingly if I just got a bad can.
But I felt like this one, it was more bitter than the other ones. And so I usually associate with an Oktoberfest with something bready and a little sweet and a little malty. And this one I felt like was a little more bitter than what I was expecting. So I still finished all my beer, and it definitely didn't get what Ryan was getting, but it fell on number 4 on the list. How about you?
I would have to agree. My number 4 was Ingenious. And it wasn't even close, to be honest. As soon as I took a sip of it, I was like, oh yeah, that ain't doing it. And so I didn't get the ashtray, but I'm not smoking ciggies like Ryan. So that would probably explain the difference. But I did get the hoppy. It was too hoppy for an Oktoberfest. And that just as soon as that first sip and I tasted that hoppiness, I was like, it It didn't feel right. I'll leave it at that.
So that brings us to our number 3 beer.
I will kick things off here.
Let's do it.
I had Cozy Bavarian as my number 3.
So what were you tasting on Cozy Bavarian?
So for me, it had breadiness. I would have liked maybe a little more maltiness because I love malts with everything in me.
Your beer descriptors just reminds me of last year when we did our Oktoberfest episode. Like, we had to re-record part of our descriptors, but we left in the best part was when I said it really embodies that Oktoberfest flavor. I'm just laughing because I'm trying to see if Adam has improved in a year, and I'm not sure that he has.
I would beg to differ.
So, Ryan, bringing us out of this hellhole. So, what do you have as your number 3?
So far, this is lining up perfectly because my outsider beer, that Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest, that was my number 3. It was kind of that perfect kind of malty sweetness, that like almost like toast kind of flavor. You just had this tiny hint of that hop spice, so it felt like it wasn't quite as balanced as the other beers that I had. Kind of the hops just kind of faded out a little bit too much. I went back and forth with my number 2 on this one, but I ended up siding with this one as my number 3.
Nice. Like Adam said, the top 3 beers I enjoyed a lot. I thought the top 3 were good. But my number 3 I actually went with the Odell Oktoberfest. Just, I want to say that I felt like it was a super balanced, really clean, no off flavors, just a really good drinking beer, but there wasn't anything like super interesting about it. And so I let it fall to number 3, but I still felt like it was a very enjoyable Marzen. And so that brings us to number 2, and I'll take the first crack since I just started this conversation. I gave the edge to the Cozy Bavarian. One thing about this one that was different was it had a real dark cherry flavor to it. It was maltier, had a thicker mouthfeel, and all I got was dark cherries, and it was interesting. And I remember liking it a whole lot more, like as one of my favorites in the past. It didn't hit that elite status for me, but still very enjoyable.
For my number 2, I had Odell for pretty similar reasons that you had. I felt like that one was the maltiest of the beers, which normally I would put at number 1, but I was feeling a little frisky today.
Ooh, yeah.
That was just weird.
I'm going to save that soundbite for later.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan.
So this is perfect. So I also had Odell Oktoberfest at number 2. And I mean, basically building on what Drew was saying, it was the sweetest to me. And it was like the first couple sips I had of it after having the Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest, I was like, man, I think it's a little too sweet. But then it kind of finished dry with some of that, like a little bit of the hop, like there's almost like a spice with the bitterness. And then all of a sudden it finished clean. And like, I just kept going back to that being like, man, it finishes really well. So I ended up giving this one the nod for number 2.
I think this is a very rare occasion that all 3 of us have aligned on a number 1 beer.
I don't think this has ever happened in the history
Spoiler alert
of the Beer and Easy podcast.
And it's international. We have taken an international, the motherland has taken over the United States here. Paulaner has won the Oktoberfest Battle of 2021.
It's brought the heat.
This is a really good beer.
It is.
I ran out of our tasters and I went to go get a refill, and I tried to make up some reason to Adam why I got this one, but really it's because this beer is freaking tasty and I wanted another one.
Oh yeah, it's good. I think it's extremely well balanced.
This may be my favorite Oktoberfest beer.
So I will say that this lineup compared to last year's lineup.
It's not as good.
Not as good. But I would like to see Paulaner in last year's lineup.
So this one I thought had the best balance with the bitterness of the hops, with the sweetness of the malt. You got some like really nice like earthy herbiness from those hops, which is like classic, like noble hop, like German hop kind of flavors. It finished like almost dry. That was like really nice to me, and it kept making me want to like go back again. Yeah, man, it's great. I'm so like, I was initially a little upset that I had to get 6-packs of all these because I was like, man, I don't want to like overcommit here. But now I'm really happy that I ended up getting it instead of a single.
We've had a great episode tonight. Oktoberfest never disappoints. International, Germany, Einswein taking the championship tonight. Just as a reminder, don't forget to follow Beering Ain't Easy on Twitter, Facebook, most importantly, Instagram. Check out our website at crossthestreamsmedia.com. Find our podcast, plus a lot of other awesome podcasts to check out.
I know our listeners are disappointed that America, and especially Texas, didn't come through today. But the good news is that 1 year from now, we will be repeating this extravaganza.
No doubt.
And America will prevail. We'll see y'all next time.
This has been a Beering Ain't Easy production in Houston, Texas. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram. And if you want to see what we're drinking, our untapped handles are Beering Ain't Easy Adam and Beering Ain't Easy Drew.
This has been a Cross the Streams Media Podcast.